Oh, speaking of, come on up, Jeff. Now you don't have anybody to white knife for. Can you answer a question? You want to claim, you did claim that you could speak coherently about one or more things in a not God world. So in a God world, God would be the creator, imposer, and sustainer of what is and having identity over time or unity over time. So I asked you that question since you don't believe in God, but you want to talk about the coherency of the I over time. What provides for, what institutes and secures identity over time, Jeff?
For me, it's the fact that I exist.
That's not an answer to the question. Okay. When you say you exist, you are communicating to us that you have identity over time, right?
That certainly seems to be the case.
Okay. Now, you do not accept that God is the creator. God is the absolute, the ultimate, that institutes whatever particulars there are in time indexes and whatever unity there is, not only in a particular time index, but cross time indexes. Okay, you certainly agree in order to speak intelligibly about anything, okay, whether it's a particular or a state of affairs, right? That it inherently is going to have to include a notion of some levels of unity, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, again, it certainly appears that there's unity, that I exist from moment to
I'm not,
moment, and that I've
asking
experienced.
you about. I'm not asking you about how things appear. Okay.
I guess
I'm at,
I'm misunderstanding. Can you maybe just like
the
state
issue
it a
is
little bit
when
different, maybe?
you talk about you don't believe in God. And by the way, you said that God doesn't exist earlier in your room. Do you recall?
Um, the, I'm sorry, my dog's going crazy. The next door neighbor's dog's
That,
going
that's
crazy.
okay.
Misha,
Okay.
come on, hey, come here, boy.
Yeah.
Um, well, I believe the Christian God does not
That's
exist.
not what you said. That is not what you said. In the other room, you said
Okay.
categorically.
I may have said that, and probably what I meant to say was the Christian God doesn't exist, and the
On
Muslim
what
God
on what
doesn't exist, and the Hindu gods
on
exist.
what grounds does the Christian God not exist?
I'm sorry, you're real faint, Darth. I couldn't hear
I
you.
said
What was the question?
on what grounds does the Christian God not exist? By the way, I do appreciate you coming in again. I mean, I am tough on you, but I do appreciate that you came back.
Okay, so the grounds that I think that the Christian God doesn't exist is that I don't believe the Bible to be a reliable document that I should believe is true, or I should base any of my reality on. And I'm not denying there may be a prime mover or an uncaused cause, um, or there could be infinite regression. I think we don't, any of us know. So I'm open to the idea that there is an uncaused cause or a prime mover. What it is, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure 100% that it's not the God of the Bible, because I believe the Bible is not a trustworthy document, and I don't believe that people
Why
rise
wouldn't
from
it
the
be trust
I
why
don't
wouldn't it
believe
be
people
trustworthy?
because I don't believe people rise from the dead. I don't think that
So
snakes
what?
talk. I don't think that,
Well, what would
well,
prohibit that?
if there was evidence, if there was
No,
good evidence.
why would you object to any uh, stipulated state of affairs in the biblical record? In your worldview, what would ultimately dictate what is, can be, and cannot be? So you could use that as a basis to mitigate against other proposed states of affairs.
I'm not sure what you're asking me there. You
You're
say things
objecting to
sometimes.
certain recorded events in the Bible that these
Well, I'm
events should
objecting
be
to the Bible
considered
as a
as
whole.
right. You are
Kind of.
objecting to a series of events, things that are stipulated to have occurred in the Bible,
That
which
was
you
one of the
feel
things. Yes.
okay. So let's go with that now. So
But there's
these
other,
these are the,
can I tell you what the other things are? Is because we don't know who some of the authors are. It's very anonymous. It was written down 60 to 100 years after Jesus died. There
you
were
don't know that's
primitive
conjecture. That is
primitive
conjecture.
people. There were primitive peoples that perhaps didn't even understand that the sun was the
Okay.
center So
Okay.
I just don't have
Jeff,
good reasons to
here's
believe
the
that these
problem.
people
Well,
had
you don't have a
something.
reason. You don't have a reason in your worldview to object to anything that is stipulated inside or outside the Bible in your metaphysic, in your model of reality. Or can you correct me on that? Is there something in your worldview that is fundamental, that is absolute, that dictates what is, can be, or cannot be?
Only my own existence and the laws of logic as I see them
No,
in
no,
my
no,
own
no, no, no. The laws of logic are universal abstractions. They don't stand in causal relations. Now you're objecting to certain
yeah, I would
events
agree. I
that
would agree with that.
okay, may I
I
finish
would agree
please?
with
May
that.
I finish please?
I was just saying I agree with you,
You
man.
need okay, you are objecting to certain things in the Bible, whether propositions or events. Now, is there something in your worldview that is fundamental to all states of affairs, okay, that dictates what institutes and secures what is, can be, and cannot be?
Is there something secures what is,
Is there something
can,
that is
and
fundamental in your complete model of reality that institutes and secures or dictates what is, what can be, or cannot be for any
yes,
proposition or state of affairs? What is it
yes,
that would dictate that?
my own existence and experiences
I
and the
don't think you
fact that
understood the
it
question.
what I don't know, man.
Your
I'm
answer,
sorry.
you're not understanding the question. Okay. Does your does your being actually cause and sustain every instance of what is, can be, and cannot be?
Oh, no, no, no. Okay, okay. No,
Okay,
no.
so
My
then you
being
can,
does
yeah.
my okay, okay, okay. Okay. Thank you. Yep, no, you're right. Okay, no, that's true.
Okay, so when you object to any stipulated state of affairs inside the Bible, outside the Bible, or any proposition that the Bible invokes, right? What is it in your worldview that would be fundamental, okay? That would be absolute in itself, meaning it would not change, right? That
Hang on. I,
dictates.
I, my earbuds have stopped working. I can't hear you, Darth. Hang on a second. I
That's fine.
apologize.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to
That's
reboot
fine.
here. Let me
Jeff is
leave and come
usually
back in.
problematic
I'm
when he
sorry. I'll be
comes
right
in,
back. I'm gonna have to take my earbuds
but
out. It happens
to
when my
his
phone
credit.
rings sometimes. I don't even know if you can hear me.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's go back. Where were we? Okay. Oh, he's back. Okay, so Jeff, in your claim that you don't have a reason to believe in God, then you must believe that you have a reason to believe in reason. So, in order to reason, okay, there you must provide a basis for propositions and states of affairs. So, I want to know, since you are
I'm
objecting
hearing
to
a bad
say,
echo. Goes. It might be my connection. I don't know what's going on. Hang on. Hang on.
okay, okay, so it's always important when we discuss the atheist response to God that in order to understand more clearly the atheist position, we must always juxtapose
Okay,
it
I'm
to
back.
the God world. Okay, so Jeff, you were objecting to certain content material in the Bible, okay, whether it's propositional statements or events. So what I would like to know from you is in your not God frame of reference, your not God world, what is it that would be fundamental to all states of affairs that dictates what is, what can be, and cannot be?
My own experiences and
No,
everything,
we went over that already.
I know, but I mean, you keep asking me, and it's the same answer because that's the
No,
honest truth. That's
no, well, I don't know. Maybe you forgot the analysis. Okay, So unless your
Oh,
being,
yes, right. So my experience doesn't
your being
the
doesn't,
existence of everything in everything doesn't hinge on me, right?
yeah,
So
if
I agree
your
with you
being,
there. Yeah,
if
yeah,
your being instituted
right,
and
right,
secured what is, what can be, and cannot be, then you would be God. Okay? Now, so I want to
right.
know, what I want
Well, I
to
don't know
know
if I'd
is,
be God, but
since you object to certain states of affairs, events, or propositions within the confines of the Bible, what is it in your worldview that would either be explicit or more likely implicit as to what would be the basis of what dictates what is, can be, and cannot be? What are your grounds to object?
hey, Darth, your mic quality is really bad. I don't. Is it just me? But I'm you're like
Let me
really
switch to my other Bluetooth headset.
okay. Yeah, I'm hearing you, but it's like you're like on a little
All right.
transistor radio or something.
How's that now? How about now?
Oh, that's better. Yeah, that's better. That's
Okay.
better. Yeah, I guess to be honest, I don't know. I would honestly answer you if I had the answer, and I don't know what it is you want to hear because um um I
I want to know what it
I
is in your worldview fundamentally would dictate what is, can be, and cannot be.
what is
Since it,
can I what
since it's not God,
I
what is it?
I don't know. I think it could just be
Okay.
randomness. It could just be
Okay. All right. Then you
can I please
yeah.
expand? Can I
Yeah,
please
you just
expand?
said randomness. So there is
It,
nothing that dictates,
well,
nothing identifiable that dictates that, right?
hey, can I please expand, please?
You
It
already
could
did.
be ran-
There is nothing. No, I'm asking you, do you have anything that you will assert that dictates that?
No, not in a positive manner. There's lots of hypotheses that I would be willing to accept and examine,
Okay. Okay.
and perhaps entertain that could be true, but I certainly don't assert that I know how all things began,
Okay.
because if I could do that, I would be winning a Nobel Prize, right?
So you don't have any fundamental basis to object to any propositional claims, do you?
Yeah, my fundamental basis is for me, and again, you don't like the answer is my own subjective experience and
No,
what and
that's okay. No, that's already been rebutted
yeah,
twice
no,
before. Okay, you're repeating the same thing that's been rebutted. Okay, I
but
mean, if I was a police officer and I pulled you over and I asked you for your driver's license registration, and you hand me your driver's license, and I look at it and I say, well, this is expired, and I hand it back to you, and I said, can you please give me a current non-expired driver's license? And you hand me your driver's license. Look at it and said, yeah, well, this is expired. And I hand it back to you. And then I ask you again and you hand me the expired driver's license. This is what you're doing with that answer. You're repeating the
so
same thing that's been rebutted.
well, I just don't know. I would have to say
Okay. So you have no
I
grounds to object to any propositional claims, do you?
have no grounds to object to any propositional claims.
Yeah.
Well, I think I do. But I think I do based on my own subjective experience. I guess is
you're
what I'm
not,
trying to say.
again, you're repeating the same thing again. That's already been
I don't.
rebutted.
Well, I get. Yeah, I guess maybe
You're,
we're just
well,
talking past each other.
no,
I'm sorry.
you're not understanding. Okay.
I'm
Well,
trying. I really am.
I'm not talking past you. I've explained something to you, okay?
Okay.
In order to object to a proposition or a particular state of affairs, you
Okay.
must have a rationale that mitigates against that. Okay? So for example, if I told you, okay, um if I told you that I just stepped in a puddle, right? You really wouldn't have grounds to object to that, unless of course you were with me and you didn't see me step in a puddle. Okay. On the other hand, if I told you I swam to Britain across the Atlantic Ocean, you would object to that on the grounds of certain limitations of physics and human anatomy and physiology. Okay. Now, the point is this: you're objecting to propositional content and stipulated events in the Bible. But your worldview doesn't provide a basis whatsoever that is identifiable and defensible to object to that, because you told me you don't know what it is that dictates what is, can be, and cannot be. So therefore, you have now admitted you don't have any rational grounds to object to propositional content in the Bible.
I
Other than
believe
your
I
vivid
do.
imagination. Okay, what is it then that you would ultimately appeal to that dictates what is, can be, and cannot be? What would that be, Jeff?
Not anything that I could identify. I don't know.
So you have no basis to ultimately object to anything. So, for example, if you said to me that you
Well, I
jumped to the moon
disagree.
for lunch,
No, I
what do
got
you
it.
disagree?
Yeah. I mean, if I told you I had a car and I asked you how confident you would be of that, you might say, okay, yeah, Jeff might have a car. If I told you I had a Ferrari, you might want to see the key fob or
Jeff,
be
you're
a
not
picture be
getting
you're
this.
right.
You're ignoring the elephant in the room here. Jeff, you want to
I'm not trying
object.
to.
Okay, you are objecting to certain propositional content and historical references in the Bible. Okay, and you're using that as a defeater for the existence of God. But you see, there's nothing in your worldview that you can appeal
Uh,
to
well,
that will
I'm
ground
not
the
using it as
objections. Jeff, do
I'm
you
not
want?
using it as a defeat.
I think you're playing dumb right now.
No, I'm not using it as a defeater for
Jeff,
God. I'm using.
does your worldview have a basis upon which to object to any propositional content?
I guess. I guess the answer you want is no.
Okay, so
And
therefore,
so yeah. I mean, okay.
I have now destroyed your
You've
rationale against the
destroyed
Christian
me.
God. No, I said I've
I'm not
destroyed
destroyed.
your rationale against the Christian God. You appealed to certain things that you said were objectionable in the Bible
Yeah, I don't. I
as
still
a
don't get it.
basis. Wait, why are you over talking me? You told me that there were certain things in the Bible that are affirmed to be true that you object to, and your objection will serve as a basis as to the denial of the Christian God. But you've just admitted that in your worldview, you have nothing that is identifiable or defensible that imposes or sustains what is, can be, or cannot be. So you don't have
Uh, uh,
any ground, you
okay.
do not have any ultimate worldview grounds to object to any content in the Bible other
Okay.
than an arbitrary objection. So
Okay.
are your objections about any biblical content arbitrary or not arbitrary?
Um, I don't know. So I guess what you're saying is that there has to be this ultimate thing that grounds everything, and that there has to be this unembodied mind.
Okay.
And so can you
I'm
give me
waiting
an
for an
argument?
answer to my question.
Can you give me an
Waiting for
argument
an
for why
answer
that
to
has to
my
be?
question. I'm waiting for an
I've
answer
answered
to
a
the
lot of your
question.
questions. I've answered your questions.
I'll be glad to give you a defense of the Christian God momentarily. But you told me that you know that the Christian God does not exist. And I asked you, how do you know
Yeah.
that? And you said, because there are certain propositions, and I'm using my words, you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm paraphrasing. There's certain content in there that cannot be. And since it cannot be, therefore the Christian God cannot exist. That was your reasoning. Isn't that correct?
Yes. Matt H says let him in the room and stop hiding from him. Just by the way. Um, uh,
By the way, I
I'm
have to
just
go
saying
in
what he.
10 minutes.
Uh, I'm just
But
saying what he said. So
Matt H is an atheist.
so yeah. I don't have any foundation. You're right. So now my question
Okay,
to you
so
is.
yeah,
Now I get now it's my turn to ask a question. So
yeah.
you believe that
Well, before you ask the
that,
question,
that
are we
you get
clear?
Tim?
Are we clear
Yes,
that you are now accepting that you have no grounds
sure,
whatsoever in your worldview
sure,
to assert that the Christian God does not exist?
sure, absolutely,
Okay, so
fantastic,
if I hear you in another chat room saying the Christian God exists, you'll be contradicting yourself, right?
absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
For the sake of this argument, this conversation, because I just want to ask my question,
Hmm.
and that is, please can you give me an argument as to why facts need grounding in an unembodied mind? Can you put it
Okay.
with like a couple of premises with a
Okay.
conclusion?
Um, the reason why facts need God, right, as an unembodied mind, where God is, it's not just simply an unembodied mind. That mind itself must be characterized as being ultimate, in that it is self-contained, meaning it is non-derivative, non-dependent, and that it is the source of what is, can be, and cannot be. Okay? Now, either one will believe that the facts that they hold to and their intelligibility either derive from that ultimate mind, right? Because that ultimate mind has taken the initiative to reveal itself, or the facts in question will have no identifiable or defensible reference point. So, because there are facts, facts transcendentally are going to require that there be identifiable and defensible mind. Okay? So, what we are saying is we invoke the existence of God by the only basis that we could, that God himself has taken the initiative to reveal himself through his creation, and in addition to that, through the course of human history. Okay? And if God did not take the initiative to reveal himself through some means, well, then we could not instantiate the existence of God. The invocation of God, therefore, would just simply be an arbitrary conjecture. Now, when you ask me
Okay.
for
Hang.
a rationale, or an argument for the God world, do you apply that same criterion of belief, which I've just answered for you? Do you apply that same criterion of belief that you apply to the existence of God to your worldview?
Okay. Before I answer your question, I wanted to just say that you didn't give me an argument of why facts must be grounded in an unembodied mind. You said a lot
Because
of
in
words.
fact,
Excuse
facts
me. Let me.
require
I was
transcendentally.
patient. I was patient and allowed you. Are you going to allow
Mm-hmm.
me the same,
Sure, go ahead.
please? All right. You made a lot of claims. You said the mind must be this, and it must be this, and it must be this, and but you made no arguments as to why I should accept those arguments.
I
I
certainly
have
did.
no.
Weren't you listening?
Well, I was. How can you dumb it down and put it in? Do you know what a syllogism is, right? With a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of premises, with a conclusion, and somewhere in that sentence, I would love to hear the words. Therefore, all facts must be grounded in an unembodied mind.
Okay.
Can you can break?
If
So I'm
if
stupid.
there
So help me out.
if okay, either either one is going to, in their metaphysic, is going to recognize that something is ultimate or not. If nothing is acknowledged or identified to be ultimate, then there won't be any rhyme or reason for anything. Okay, and therefore you wouldn't have facts. In
Is
order to
that
have,
is that premise? Is that premise one?
I'm not laying out a specific syllogism for you. Okay, now when
Well, that's what
are
I
you
kind of
okay,
asked for because
okay,
you want me to presume a lot of
Jeff,
things.
I mean, I could give you a crude syllogistic response, but what I would like to know from you is this: when you believe in the not God world, have you done so because of a syllogism with a first and second premise followed by a conclusion?
Yes.
Can you
If
give it
God
to me, please?
existed, yes, if God existed, he would have revealed himself to me. God has not revealed himself to me, therefore God does not exist.
Wow.
Okay, so when you say God has not revealed himself, is that a defensible premise?
As far as I can tell, it
Well,
absolutely is.
first of all, even the first premise, you're saying if God existed, he would reveal himself. That's a non sequitur. It doesn't follow
I, I,
because
but
what is, oh, listen carefully. The first premise says if God existed, he would then reveal himself. Is that a non sequitur, Jeff?
Well, I was repeating back the words I've heard you say so many
Jeff,
times about a
Jeff,
mind.
Jeff,
About
Jeff,
I'm
Jeff.
repeating back what you say about a mind being
If if
revelatory.
if if
God,
if a
Darth, do you
creator
believe? Do you
God,
believe? Do you believe this
Jeff,
mind has to be revelatory?
now you're being, listen, what you're now
Do
doing
you
is you're
believe the
being,
mind to be
Jeff,
revelatory?
Jeff, please don't start your usual stick of bickering. When you
Oh,
say
just
if
asking a
God,
question.
if a creator existed, he would then reveal himself.
Do
What
you
was the
disagree with
what
that
it okay,
premise?
Jeff, you know what? You keep on talking about cordiality and you don't follow this at all. Okay? And you're doing it on purpose because you do not want to answer my questions. You're trying to pretend like you do. You're not, Jeff, I'm not stupid, and neither are people listening. Now, you laid out a first premise. Okay? If God existed, he would reveal himself. Why does it necessarily follow
And I'm asking
okay,
if you would
all right,
agree with that
Elijah,
premise.
okay, you're done.
Wow.
Okay, you're done. Okay, so this is, you see, this is Jeff's strategy. Okay, this is what Jeff does. Jeff feigns cordiality at times, but then when he feels it's appropriate, he